Welcome back, folks. It's Mike, and it's time for the second in the series that I like to call Pretty Good Plays, and this is going to be the one and only Mega Man 2. Probably, in my opinion, the best game on the Nintendo, very possibly the best game in the Mega Man series, and it's kind of weird to say those in that order. It's kind of weird to do a video series like this and so quickly get to kind of the best one of all, but that's kind of how it goes when you're playing Mega Man, right? Let's just enjoy this super sweet crawl up the tower here. Do I have anybody on the line?
What's up, Mike?
Hey, it's Eric. I'm about to go for Mega Man 2. Are you a fan of this game?
Yeah, that game's it's a pretty good game.
Of course you're a fan of this game. What reasonable human being is not? Also, we're getting off to a very good start with a super jam right here on the title screen. We're gonna play on difficult, because of course we are. And I'm gonna hot dog a little bit here. Start with Quick Man. Because I played this game a whole bunch of times, and I don't want to be cocky because honestly this could go bad. You know, this almost always works out for me, but there is like maybe a 20% chance that I mess this up and don't finish the level. But I gotta try, you know, like I wouldn't feel like I was being true to myself if I didn't start with Quick Man. Not that I always do that, but again, I'm trying to impress folks here. First thing...
You gonna play one more Mega Man and then stop?
Nope. I'm gonna play at least through 6, probably 7 and 8. And 9 and 10 if I can be arsed to buy another copy of the Legacy or the Anniversary Collection too, whichever one it is that has.
Can you even get those on PC?
Oh yeah, you can absolutely.
Collections.
I just don't necessarily want to buy another copy. All right, here we go. This is the moment, the do or the die. So, all right, let's talk Quick Man Lasers. We love this game. We think it's an amazing game. Anyone who is playing this game for the first time would fucking hate this part, right? I'm not supposed to swear. Because it's ridiculous, right? There's no way that you should be expected to do this, right? But we were kids, we had tons of free time and not enough money to buy another game, so we all did it. We all played this part over and over again until we learned this ridiculous pattern, right? And now, like, almost 30 years later, I can do it, like, almost every time. Like so.
Just takes 30 years of practice.
Just takes 30 years of practice.
Or to read about the Flashman thing in Nintendo Power.
I mean, I think if you play enough Mega Man 2, you'll figure that out, because Flashman is one of the easiest stages and one of the easiest bosses in the game, right? So you're like, the chances are you're going to get Flashman's power, and once you see what it does, you're probably going to be like, oh, right? And then you're just gonna go for it. But yeah, like this and the Heat Man disappearing block gauntlet and the turret fight in Wily Castle, they're all things that you would not expect any rational person to learn how to do, right? I think if a new game came out and asked this kind of stuff out of its players, for the most part, we would call bullshit on it. Get with the swearing. Anyway.
Are you gonna add a cuss counter to your deaths and jams counter?
I may have to. I do have a death. I knew that was going to happen. I'm very confident that I will be able to beat this fight, but that's because there's an energy tank in this stage. Beating Quick Man without Flash Stopper is kind of like a 50-50 proposition for me. Maybe not even 50-50. Like, it's a tough fight. He bounces all over the place. When you refight this guy in Wily's Castle on the flat floor, this is about 1 billion times easier. But for now, actually, he's giving me a really nice pattern right now.
Yeah, he keeps running into that lower block there.
Yeah, one more good hit. Hey, look at that. Didn't even my energy tank.
Nicely done.
Yeah, so I took the death because I knew I was going to get down here with, you know, lowish health, and that fight's really hard, but it's worth it to be able to say that you started your Mega Man 2 run with Quick Man, right? Know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess so.
Also, Quick Boomerang is one of the better weapons in this game, which is something that I didn't really realize until kind of recently, I want to say. Oh, you know what? I'm giving this weapon song a jam, because I love it. I'm also giving the Stage Select song a jam, because it's super cool. And I'm going to give the Robot Master Select music a jam, because it's one of the most iconic pieces of music in all of Mega Man. And of course, Airman Stage is probably the best song in the game. So there you go, we're up to 5 jams and I'm only on my second stage. Because basically this is the best soundtrack on the NES.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. This and Castlevania 3 for me.
Castlevania 3 does have good...
order.
As much as I don't like that game, it has some good-ass music. we've been over this about 100 times, but I think you and me are both on the wavelength that we kind of prefer the NES version to the fancy Famicom disk system version.
I don't really know why people like that one so much more, but
it's got more going on. I enjoy them both. Like, I think there's
they're both really good.
The vinyl release of that game came with both of them, and like I could totally see myself just listening to the soundtrack twice in a row with the two different variations back to back. They're both good enough to be worthwhile. So here in Airman Stage, I think Airman Stage is logically like the best place to start a playthrough of Mega Man 2. Metal Man is also great just because Metal Blades are super, but Airman is easier and the air shooter is useful, and you get the item 2, which is like the Rush Jet equivalent from doing the stage first. So I think it's a good warm-up, and the payoffs is nice.
I feel like, didn't you and I used to argue about Airman being the proper place to start Mega Man 2?
Probably argued about a lot of things about Mega Man 2. For years, I was a Bubble Man person.
Really? I think maybe Joe is the Metal Man diehard. I don't remember, but
I've done my share of Metal Man first runs. Like, again, it's just so rewarding to have that Metal Blade right off the bat.
Yeah.
I just want to say, these two Oni heads floating here, this is one of the hardest spots in the game for me to get through without taking a hit. Those horns like never synchronize for me properly, or else you get hit by one of the little flying mini guys who shows up.
Yeah, fortunately, Mega Man's a game that's designed for you to take hits sometimes.
Yeah. So Airman Stage, like, it's not the hardest stage by far. Any game that has Quick Man and Heat Man stages, obviously this is not going to be the hardest stage in the game. It does have a lot of pits. Like, I could see a novice player having a hard time with it, but it's still manageable, and it's got a little bit less bullshit than, like, Crash Band Stage.
Yeah.
And Airman himself is one of the biggest pushovers in the entire Mega Man series, basically. You could more or less just run towards him and shoot the entire fight, and you'll probably win.
It's true.
And actually, it's hard for me to do anything more advanced than that, because I find avoiding a lot of his tornado patterns to be more or less impossible. Like this one, what the hell am I supposed to do with that second one there? But it doesn't really matter, because as soon as he crosses the screen like that, now you're next to him and you're just filling him full of lead. There you go. Oh, and I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to give a jam to the little victory jingle. I know
is this some sort of metric by which you will determine which Mega Man game is best at the end of the series? Is that what's happening?
I mean, I don't think there's really any it's no contest when it comes to soundtracks. Like, there are other good soundtracks in the Mega Man series, even other great ones, but come on, Mega Man 2, right? No, I just want to, I want to laud the games where I can, because I love all these games. I even love 4, kind of.
I can feel your passion burning.
It's the worst of them, I think. I think for sure. I mentioned this recently to other people, but the other one that I don't like very much is 9, which people just love that game, and part of me really thinks it's because it was just kind of got a free pass because it came out after a long drought in the world of Mega Man games.
9 is definitely the one I liked the most of the latter entries in the series.
It's the hardest.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
yeah,
9.
It's the most well thought through for sure, but I also find it mean, and I was just like really frustrated that they didn't put the slide in. Like, the slide was good, man. Slide didn't. It's the reason why I still can't completely pronounce myself on Mega Man 3 versus 2. Like, I like Mega Man 2 a lot. I think it has the most heart, the most memorable stuff out of any of these games, but it doesn't have a slide, and there are times when I really wish it did.
It's true.
Also,
I mean, you don't need a slide in 2 for the most part. Like, there's no parts where they.
There are times.
It would make like the Quick Man stuff a lot easier, also.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
There are times when it's almost impossible to avoid taking a hit, where if you had a slide, you could thread the needle in a really satisfying way.
Yeah.
And that's why I like the slide. I feel like it really makes it possible to finesse the gameplay a bit. I don't know.
Slide's good.
There are hitless runs of Mega Man 2 on YouTube, I'm sure. So like. Prove me wrong all you want, all day long. Oh, Metal Man's got a jam. That's a jam right there.
I mean, I'm not going to ask. I don't want to tempt you to spoil it.
Well, I actually already did not give a jam to Quick Man Stage, which I think is good, but like, it's not one of my favorites. But yeah, there's one super anti-jam coming up, but that's not going to be for a while. Yeah, so Metal Man Stage has got these little conveyor belts here. It's all conveyor belts and gears. I like these little dancing jester guys who pop down the gears. There you go. Boop. So I'm playing the game on difficult, which is actually normal mode, whatever, if you're a Japanese purist. One of the very few changes that's really noticeable is going to come up pretty soon here. It's these pillar guys who stacked up over there. And for many years I just played this game on easy, and those guys would die in one shot, but when you're on difficult mode they explode into chunks and they hit me like 4 times out of 5. Oh, there you go. I managed to avoid one. Otherwise there's a couple bosses that take, I want to say less damage from some of your weapons. Like Metal Man will actually die in one shot of Metal Blade if you're playing on normal, but it takes 2 if you're on difficult, and I imagine there's a couple of other situations a little bit like that. Yeah. So I like going to Airman first before doing Metal Man, just because I can get the, there's a free life and an energy tank that are both a lot easier to get. Actually, you can't get the energy tank without dying, I think, if you don't have the jet. And you can't get the free life at all, so I feel like it's worth making that one detour first. I wasn't going to use Metal Blade at Airman stage anyway, really. So, I can't ace this fight guaranteed. Like, it's a... I can definitely beat Metal Man sometimes, just with the regular pea shooter and, you know, coming in with full health. I don't have full health this time. But it's a bit of a crapshoot because his blade pattern's pretty random, and sometimes I avoid it, sometimes I don't. I'm actually maybe going to take a death here because I don't even... oh yeah, you know what? If I survive one more hit, I'm going to use an energy tank. Are you hunting some mons right now?
I'm playing Hearthstone.
Ah, yes, good.
Instead.
Easy to talk over.
Yeah, that's basically why. I'm up to a difficult checkpoint fight in Monster Hunter, and it's hard to concentrate and talk at the same time.
Well, thank you for joining me. So, yeah. Metal Blade, the one and only most broken, super sweet weapon in all the Mega Man games.
It's too good.
Yeah, you know what? I don't agree with you. It's just good enough.
It's too good.
I don't even know where I should go now. The world is my oyster at this point. Let's go see Bubble Man. Of course, you should know.
Just pop in. Eh?
Oh, nice one. Everyone should know that if you hold down the A and B buttons when you select your Robot Master, you get birds in the background instead of stars. I believe I left Quickman with stars just once to show you what it looks like, because it's going to be birds from here on out. I got opinions when it comes to birds.
I actually didn't. I don't think I knew that.
No?
Nope.
Oh,
I'm learning stuff.
I'm glad I can actually teach you a thing or two. Well, a thing. We'll see about 2. Famous Bubble Man falling platforms, which I remember being the subject of a post by one Tom Hewlett, who now works for Way Forward, lamenting when he first got his HD TV that he could no longer do the Bubble Man platforms because the lag on the screen caused him to drop before he'd jump.
Oh man, modern TVs.
Yeah, they're kind of complicated. They look way better, so I don't know.
Now, modern TVs from 10 years ago.
Yeah, they're better now, but some of the new ones are still not super fast.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of a pain to beat this lantern anglerfish, not a lanternfish, it's an anglerfish with the metal blades because they bounce. But I'm just too lazy to switch off the metal blades. I don't really have a good reason to not use them for this entire level. But yeah, Bubble Man was my go-to for a long time because he was one of the first ones that I learned how to beat pretty reliably. And nowadays I look at it and well, Bubble Lead or Lead is not really useful kind of anywhere in the game except for when you really need it. So you don't get much by coming here early. That's how I was talking about this in Mega Man 1. I was I used to beat Bomb Man first because he was a piece of cake, but the bombs are completely useless, so why? You don't actually get anything out of it aside from clearing one of the levels.
You get to beat the next boss more easily, and that's pretty much it.
Well, not with Bomb Man. Oh, by the way, this is a super jam here. That Bubble Man music. I believe this is by Minami Matsume. I don't know all the track that she did, but I've been kind of trying to cap them off because she's kind of become relevant again in the world of modern indie games. Which is super nice. I really hate this bit with the falling crabs. And in fact, if I had Flash Stopper, I would be using it right here just to make sure that doesn't happen.
Oh no.
Oh no, indeed.
You got Mega Man.
Mega Man?
Yeah.
That almost never happens to me anymore. That's been a while since I lost a life that way. Mega Man 2 is never going to be quite as... Like, my Mega Man 1 play went really, really well. Got through that whole game on 3 lives, which I don't think I've ever done before.
Wow. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, but I know things are going to be a little harsher here, because there's a couple places where I'm pretty sure I'm guaranteed to drop a life. I might be able to do it with no continues if I get a little bit lucky on the extra lives. Mega Man 2 on difficult is one of the more generous games in the series for free lives, just because enemies drop them somewhat regularly. Not even close to Mega Man 5. That game was absurd. Just like free lives all over the place. You top out the life meter halfway through beating the Robot Masters, and then it'll be like you'll be at 9 or 8 the entire rest of the game. Because it's very easy. I lost my train of thought because that stupid crab knocked me down a hole.
I don't. What's the iconic NES knockback game? Is it Mega Man, Castlevania, or Ninja Gaiden?
I'd say no, not again. Okay, oof, that was close. I would say 100% Ninja Gaiden because that's probably how you lose like 50% of your lives in that game, or maybe more.
Yeah.
All of those birds and like bird equivalents, which are in almost every level of the game.
The Castlevania series has some pretty... I think that is the one that first pops into my head just because it's the one where you take the most damage from the knockback. But
you don't always go flying, like if you're on a ladder, which is where a lot of the times when you're dealing with floating Medusa heads in Castlevania, you're on a ladder. I mean, in the original Castlevania, there's that whole Medusa head hallway before you fight Grim Reaper, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the Castlevania games very much, so I don't play them very much. What you gonna do? Where should we go from here, Eric? The world is our oyster.
I mean, Heatman is the natural progression, right? But
true. We got item 2. We've got the bubbles. Why the heck not?
What are you, bubble lead or bubble lead guy? What's your?
All my life I was a bubble lead person, and I always thought that made more sense because it's gray and it rolls downhill.
Yeah.
Recently, when I was showing this game to my son, he learned how to read, and he looked at the words and he said "bubble lead," and I'm like, "Damn."
Yeah.
Hey, I got a free life there. That's nice. I really do like having the metal blade before taking on this little battery gauntlet here.
Yeah.
Battery. You don't need to. You can just kind of tank your way through it.
Is that what those things are supposed to be? Batteries?
I think they're called batteries. I don't remember.
Okay.
I love games that put all the enemy names in the credits. Sadly, this is not one of those. You can use Bubble Lead to get rid of these little spring guys if you want. Not that I really need to, but I kind of hate them, so like that.
Is that the only way to kill those guys? I think otherwise your bullets just ricochet off, right?
I'm trying to remember if there's another weapon that does it. Alright, so this is just a good old 1, 2, no. 1, 2, there we go. Yeah, the very infamous disappearing block session coming up here. It's not unfair except for the part that you can't practice it without dying, basically. Like, it's not a very mean pattern. I think there's one gotcha in the whole pattern, but the problem is that because you're flying so long without a net, you're absolutely going to lose at least one life learning how it works. This is where you want the metal blades, because it's the only weapon that shoots diagonally down. I mean, I guess the bubbles could maybe help you a bit, but bonus points if you ever crash bomb your way through that little wall there.
I was just going to say, yeah, either that or you just do crash bomber first and then...
But that only helps you in those 1 or 2 spots. Alright, we're gonna just cheat our way through. I have done this, like the Yellow Devil in Mega Man 1, I have done this one time legitimately. Just
you put your time in.
Like, I'm proud to take on the Quickman lasers any day of the week, but the Heatman Gauntlet, it would make for a pretty crappy video. There you go. I like to make it up here before I put the jet on, which is kind of dumb, because if you just stand on the edge, I think it's actually better, but... That's a big old hole. Yeah, so my appreciation for Quick Boomerang has grown quite a lot since I learned that they're super good for taking out these big stomper guys. Took me a long time to even realize that these stompers are the Mega Man 2 analog for the big plunger enemies that you find in so many other games. I don't know why I didn't clue into that faster. Probably because I played this game first when I was like, 9 or something, so I've just been seeing them for so long. It never felt like they fit the pattern the way all the other stompy enemies do. Alright, if there's a way to... Oh, wow. I was gonna say, if there's a way to avoid Heatman's first shot, I don't know what it is, but I just did it, so...
you just figured it out. Very impressive.
Heatman is, dead easy as long as you wait to jump, basically. Like, hit him, he does a little flare-up. Just don't jump until you see him start moving, because that time is really variable. Oh yeah, you know what? I don't think I'm going to give a jam to Heatman's stage music, just as we're leaving here. That's a good song, but it's not my favorite.
Good? Yeah, that's good.
There's a really great video you can find on YouTube of someone going through the music theory of the music of Mega Man 2 and how every track is like almost identical in the sense that they're all like these upbeat, like minor key pieces in 4/4 that all do the same like 1/7/1 chord progression. In fact, there is only one exception, more or less, to that rule in the entire first set of Robot Masters, and maybe we'll go there next. I got everything I need. Sorry, I'm just getting a quick look at one here. Let's go take on Crashman, the one guy who, I left the stars. The one guy who doesn't have the minor music 1/7/1 chord progression. So from this video I learned that this game had an entire soundtrack, more or less, that was kind of scrapped because the I don't know who it was, like, on the design team, basically thought it wasn't cool enough. And they're like, go back and make the music sound, like, cool and edgy, and that's why we got all these really great driving tunes. Oh, hey, nice, another free guy, nice. Except that Crashman's tune is like the one piece of music that comes from this earlier soundtrack when things were kind of goofy and happy-go-lucky. And I love it. I think this is a great song, so let's give that a jam right now. Yeah. Oops, the jam counter is stuck. Hold on.
31, 53,
what
75,
is that like
96.
We're at 9 or 10?
100, I think we were at 9, I think.
So this will put us up to 10 then?
I think
enough.
this is 9.
Whatever.
I think this is 9.
We're within one standard deviation of the actual number of jams. Alrighty, so... Oh, hey, Anthony's watching us play, apparently. How you doing, big guy? Anthony's on a big old road trip with 2 cats. No rules.
He bought an awesome trucker shirt.
Yeah, it's a pretty good shirt. Yeah. It would take a little while for me to dig up a picture of that shirt that I could show, and I don't want to out Anthony because he just looks so cool that I think it would be pretty disheartening for everyone who saw him to realize how much cooler he is than they are.
Would cause them physical pain.
I don't have the patience to do this little platform maze when I got item 1 on hand.
No. Look, man, that's the whole reason you get the items.
Yeah.
So you don't have to put up with that bullshit.
So, Crashman's level is all vertically oriented, which is fine. I think it's a cool level. There's one part later on that's kind of sucky, where the birds start dropping eggs on you, and if you don't have, I guess, Air Shooter or Metal Blade, you're just going to take a bunch of hits for no good reason. Oops. I wonder why I don't screw that up. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. I'm happy with my quick beam performance, and I did an okay job. I don't remember where. I was happy with something I did earlier. Oh, the Heatman thing. I managed to avoid that first shot, so...
Hey, and you nailed the Quickman beams on your first try, so...
Yeah. Yeah, so I wanted to say about the Quickman beams is I've done that so many times, I know it really well, but, like, I want to feel that I've actually gotten kind of worse at it lately, like, in the last, like, maybe 5 years or so. Like, my success rate seems to have gone down a little bit. And I don't know if I'm just overthinking it now or what. For a long, long time, I just did it on pure muscle memory and never questioned myself, and at some point I was like, oh, I wonder what the actual timing here is, and I think I started kind of sucking at it. Not a lot, like I'd still get it most of the time, but... There you go. Get the energy tank. I think we're sitting pretty. Like, I don't expect we're going to continue on this run now that I got 4 extra lives. Make that 5. I really love these little stompy guys who... Oh, okay, geez, wow. Lives aplenty. I would like to get, like, okay, not doing a great job dealing with these guys. I would like to get a little bit of health just so that I don't lose a life to Crashman. I wonder if these guys will drop a little bit of health for me.
One small item thing. Oh no, now you get a big one.
Yeah, I don't even need that though. Like, I'm not gonna stay here till I drain all my Metal Blade, I don't think. Come on, guys. Mega Man 2 is like one of the most generous games in the whole series for dropping health pickups, except that sometimes it's not. Forget it! We're just gonna go. We're just gonna do it. I don't need health. Why would I need health? Not like I'm gonna take a hit this fight. Fun Crash Man fact is that he doesn't jump until you jump. Oh, I took a hit. I'm a liar. A damn liar. But I won the fight. Crash Bomb's kind of like the utility item in this game. Like, I basically never use it as a weapon, but there are times when you need it to open up a passageway or defeat the worst boss in maybe the whole Mega Man series. Alright. Well, let's go Flash Man. Oops, I was too slow on my buttons. Ours again. Flash Man, he's a pretty starry kind of guy. I'm gonna give this one another jam. It's not my favoriteest, but it's got kind of like a fun disco vibe to it that goes with the flashing lights. And you locked and loaded over there?
I'm turning my Xbox controller off.
You can't do that with the Xbox One controller, so now you just have to kind of let them do their own thing.
What's that? Oh, I take the door off and pull the batteries out to turn it off instead of holding the button down.
Because I do that on the 360 controllers. Alright, this is really gratuitous, but I got Crash Bomb, so let's just blow up these doors.
Do it.
On the 360 controllers, I just pop the battery pack off really quick, and it's super fast and satisfying. But I don't want to I don't actually get in there and dig around for the batteries. And I find that it doesn't seem to change how long they last. Like, it must be using very little power when it's just sitting there. I think that's just Rumble that uses up your battery power. I'm gonna pop this gate here, but I don't know what's gonna get me. Yeah, I made it. These slippery floors are kind of a pain in the rear end. Gotta love the toothpaste monster. Wubba wubba, I'm in the pink today.
What?
It's I think it's a win quote from one of the SNK fighting games.
Wow.
Yep, it's a good one. Alright, let's go max out our supply of energy tanks. Nice, nice, nice. One more of these crash doors. Let's jump. Alright. Flashman is pretty chumpy, just to begin with, and then if you add Metal Blades to the mix, he's not even a speed bump. His weapon is actually kind of cool. There are a couple of places where if you know the level really well, you can just use them to bypass annoying enemy spawns. As we will see when we head over to Woodman stage. Second. I really wish I had had this for the crabs. I should have done this level before I did Bubble Man.
Would have saved you a
It
life.
saved me a life. That's going on my permanent record. I hope you realize. Message from Doctor Who. Item 3 complete. You got a weird sound coming in through there, through your microphone there.
I do?
Yeah, do you have a fan on? Whatever it is, it stopped.
Is it gone now?
Yeah. Alright, Woodman. Woodman deserves birds.
Was it going the whole time, or did it just
No,
start?
no, it was just there for a second. Woodman's theme is a super jam. Aside from the intro, which I don't... This will maybe a little bit too Ooga Chaga for my tastes. Bubble Bats are one of my favorite enemies in the entire Mega Man series. I think the Bubble Bats only take one hit on normal and they take two on difficult, which can kind of throw you off. I don't remember when I made the switch from normal to difficult, but I definitely still have a couple reflexes, even if it's been like 20 years. There are a couple things that I still kind of associate with playing on normal.
Is it which? I think it must be. Is it Mega Man X where there's a bubble bat that has a
Yeah.
super high one-up on right?
Yeah. There's only one in the game, I want to say. There's like a bubble bat
Yeah.
equivalent that you find all the time, and then there's one actual
Yeah, it's in
bubble
the
bat.
Armadillo stage,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And I think it must be there because you need those lives in order to get the Hadouken,
Yeah.
and you need them on that stage in particular. I love nuking hot dogs with the atomic fire. Especially the third one because it's such an annoying place to avoid his fire, so why bother? Dang the dang. Woodman stage has these gorillas that pop up and grab onto the poles here, and a couple of those guys come back in Mega Man 3. There aren't actually that many enemies that I find get reused in this series, at least through the Nintendo games. Eventually they start reusing them all just kind of for nostalgia purposes. But aside from Meatools and Sniper Joes, I want to say that like the majority of enemies are different from game to game. Eat blade, buddy.
Poor bunny rabbit.
Yeah. I want to say Woodman is a boss that gets a lot harder on difficult because I think maybe because he takes less damage. I don't know, it's been a long time since I played on normal, but I feel like he either does less damage or takes takes more damage when you're playing on normal. And it's kind of difficult to avoid his falling leaves, although there's a way to make it fairly easy, which is just to stay at the very back of the room. But yeah, if you're not paying attention, if you don't come in with full health, he can cause you a problem.
He can DPS you down pretty fast.
Yes. Honestly, like a lot of the boss fights in Mega Man come down to just trading damage and hoping that you can kind of outpace the other guy. Which is going to be very easy for me with these metal blades. Oh, sorry, I'm off my game right now. I said very easy for me. Thank you. Yeah, you stay by the back wall, and if you time it right, you can squeak between the leaves pretty easily, and I did not do that even once.
Just buzzsaw that fool.
Which is fine, because like I was saying, there are some fights where you can just kind of power your way through as long as you got enough health. And I ain't proud, like I've done that in a lot of games. Alright. Made it. Dr. Wowie. This is the first appearance of the kind of classic look Dr. Wily Saucer. Had a lot more of a squashed appearance in the previous game, but again, Mega Man 2 is so good and so influential that it kind of set a lot of the tone for the series forever, basically. A Sweet Skull Castle there, and maybe the greatest gem of them all?
Pretty dang good.
It's up there. No denying that. I think I mentioned... Oh, man. We're up to 8 free lives. That's more than I usually have at this point. So I think I mentioned
What's left that's difficult? Just the dragon fight?
There's a couple
really?
things that are kind of hard. Like, there's no real roadblocks at this point for sure. Like, the dragon fight is actually pretty easy, as long as you don't fall. So basically just not falling off the platform is the challenge there. I sometimes have a hard time with like the Robo Butterfly fight, which is the boss in, I want to say, the second area. It's mostly platforming challenges that are tough at this point.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of the easier
Dr. Wily Castles?
stages. Yeah.
And what's even easier is Mega Man 3's, and I think that's why I like it so much.
Yeah.
So, I mentioned this in my last stream, but I definitely, absolutely like the Mega Man, like, Robot Master levels way more than the Dr. Wily stages. That's true for almost every game in the series. Actually, I think it's true for every single game in the series. I'll leave that there in case I die. You don't have to do this, you can actually just hang off the bottom of the ladder and use the regular weapon. Oh jeez, these Metal Blades actually do really bad damage to these guys. You can just hang out right here and use the regular Pea Shooter or Mega Buster to pink those guys to death, and they can't even hit you if you put yourself in the right spot. You guys are a pain. I see you. Use the left lane to pass, asshole.
gotta go for it, man. Get there first.
I
Claim the
I usually
space
do, but I think I
hop
also
over.
usually take the hit. So this time we're being elegant. I'm trying not to lose lives. I gotta all these people watching. There's people everywhere. Someone once told me that these guys can't even make it onto the ladder. That's not true. Look at that. He's on the ladder right there. Someone told me like that the sprites couldn't cross the ladder barrier basically. If you climb straight up, they won't. So it kind of looks like that. Oh man, I love the background here, like the bamboo. I mean, there's not a lot of background going on. There's a reason for that. That's because the background of this level is this guy. That's not a foreground sprite. The only way they could make the dragon that big was to make it be the background. A little bit of NES trickery for you. So, this fight is actually cake. As long as you just stand, basically. Oh dear. Okay, I'm gonna eat my words. Don't eat the words. I was gonna say, as long as you just stand in the right spot on that top block, every time you get hit, you'll fall back onto the middle block. You just jump back up and continue quick boomeranging. But yeah, falling in the hole is your biggest danger there.
Yeah, he'll kind of like push you off with the fireballs.
Yeah, but again, if you're standing, in kind of, I guess you want to aim for the middle of that top block, then the knockback will just put you in the right spot. So once you know, it's pretty easy. All right, I can't give this song 2 jams, but kind of feels like I should. So Dr. Wily Castle means managing energy for your special weapons, which is the one disadvantage of not continuing, which there's no way I'm going to continue, I don't think. Another free life, Jesus. All right, I'll take it. I think I maybe at the. I think I'm at 10. You can actually get more than 9 in this game. Really frustrating thing in some of the later games is that they will show you like a double-digit life counter. You can't get more than 9. You just get stuck at 0-9 forever. Why do that to someone? You know, like that's a dirty trick.
I would definitely be pretty upset if I thought that I had way more than 9 lives. And makes it feel like totally not worthwhile to farm lives and stuff.
You should not farm lives. I mean, the only time you should farm lives in these games ever is if you're close to a boss that you're having a hard time with. I'm not even gonna get that life. Who cares? That's so many.
I don't think you can't carry more E-tanks, right?
No, I got 4, so whatever. I don't have a whole lot to do with it at this point. I like these screws even though they're annoying. Like a cool effect. I don't know of any good way to get through here without taking a lot of damage unless you just go over this. Oh my god. No free life.
Fucking go, man. Run.
I don't want to take too much damage because I would prefer not to lose a life on the boss. Not a hard boss, but I'm going to take a couple hits. Good old item 3. I use it here. Actually, I think you have to use it here. But I tend to use item 3 when I can because item 1 is better. So I try to save the energy for 1 and use 3. A bit more niche.
Yeah, that's one of the few places where that item is actually really useful.
It's really hard to get right between those 2 stompers. I'm pretty proud of myself. Because the game slows down and it kind of messes with your inertia, so you tend to kind of drift.
Well, plus there's only like you can't be off by more than a pixel or so, right?
Yeah, it's basically pixel perfect. I don't know how much leeway you have, but it's not a lot. A little health refill, and now it's time for the bubble thingamies. I used metal blades on these guys for the longest time, but it turns out that they are more weak to bubble lead. It's not a very hard boss, but they do hit really hard. So whenever you make a mistake, it's really punishing. And it's just a super annoying place to have to come through here again, so like, I get a little nervous here just because I don't want to repeat the level. Of course, if we're going to talk about annoying level repetition, this is not even like a tenth of what's coming. More. Boom. Pretty sure I gave the boss Thief a jam.
Yeah, you
Like
did.
the boss fight music.
Yeah. It was like the second or third jam that you handed out.
Yeah, it must have been. I actually always forget what the order of these levels is, but this is the Guts Tank level. That's Dozer, I should say. So I don't need an energy tank, and I don't think there's any weapon energy that I need badly enough to burn 2 crash bombs for. Crash bombs are life itself.
Is this the level where you have to use the little floaty platforms to get?
No, that's the same level that you have to use the crash bombs on the wall turret boss. I know, because... So, okay, played this game easily 100 times in my life, I want to say, from start to finish. Probably like 20 in the last year alone, because my son loves it so much. And so, you know, after a while you get pretty good at it, and I learned how to deal with the turret wall boss, which we're going to be seeing in the next level. And then, like, in the last year or so, maybe just because I played the game so many times, I messed it up on 2 separate occasions. And what a pain in the ass it is when you mess that up. It's just the biggest, worst, most annoying thing. And it's actually, like, even more worse if you're like me and you have a bunch of lives. Oops.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of options.
I could tell that was going south as soon as I came into that screen.
Yeah, you drifted a little bit too far to the right.
Yeah. See, that doesn't ever happen to me. That's not a place where I lose lives. Anyway, yeah, I messed up the turret sequence on 2 separate occasions, and every time it's just utter pain. Like, also, say hi to these big dopey fish guys. I love these guys. Fish? They're super awesome. They actually remind me of Dopefish from the Commander Keen games. Probably came before Dopefish. Swim, swim, hungry. Oh, sorry, Dopefish from the Commander Keen games and Deus Ex Human Revolution. Where you can find him as a little piece of graffiti in the background at one spot. Took a screenshot of that back when I played that game. A little nasty surprise for you if you fall down the middle there. Don't do that. Alright, I'm embarrassed about that last one, man. That should not have happened. I don't like this little gauntlet with the shooty guys, because if there's a way to get through here without getting shot every time, I don't know what it is.
You gotta duck.
Right.
Slide.
Jump, jump, slide, slide.
Yeah.
Alright, here's the Guts tank. Don't get too comfortable around him, because he won't be staying very long. Great design, really cool looking boss. Complete pushover. Just a little bit annoying because I keep falling off the part that I have to stand on. There you go. Yep, really cool design. Bye-bye. So unfortunately, this is right around where the good music ends. So for the next 2 levels or so, we're going to be stuck with this. One of the worst pieces of music in the entire series, and that's a series that includes Mega Man 4. Well, whatever, I'm not coming back here again. I guess another Blades.
It just sounds like,
It's like the demo that the guy made. He's like, oh, this is gonna be the Dr. Wily Part 2 music once I finish it. Like, once I make it good and cool. It's like the one part of the game that kind of feels like they ran out of time at some point. Whereas everything else is like so well crafted and really awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like the intro to the piece of music for the stage, but
Yeah.
it just never really gets anywhere beyond that.
Can't believe that hole got me. Should have been using my bubble lead to lead me past the gaps. I should remember where the holes are in this level, but I don't.
Yeah, any video game stage that has to resort to invisible holes and floors is
it's not the best. This is definitely
a bad time. That's a bad time. This is not the high point,
but man, look at those spikes. Are those not like the scariest spikes in this game? I love this little hallway because it does nothing. It's just like you went up one side, now you're gonna go down the other. Oop. All right, don't jump down there. This is a really good place for Leaf Shield. Fun fact about the NES games is that when you change weapons, Mega Man rematerializes into the level, and if you're holding onto a ladder, he lets go. And that's true up until, I think, Mega Man 4, at which point they finally decided that, no, you could hold onto a ladder even if you change weapons. I kind of like it. You can actually use that as a cheat in this upcoming boss fight if you want.
He has to, there's a button that he has to push on himself to change weapons, and so that's why he has to let go of the ladder.
I've always loved like the little kind of teleport animation Mega Man has when he starts and finishes levels. I love how fast and like like really zappy, really fast and cool. Kind of makes you wonder why he never does anything like that, like when he's in the level. Why not just teleport across like a really hard gap or something? Wait a second. What am I doing? Oh yeah. Uh-oh. Oh no! Amateur move.
You landed on the scary spikes.
No, I panicked. I was on that little platform like, oh, I should have made that jump earlier. Why didn't I make that jump? And the reason I didn't make that jump is because it wasn't time to make that jump. This is what happens when I stream and play at the same time. There's not enough brain to go around. I don't know what happened when I played Mega Man 1. I was like in some kind of fugue state. There's a reason I called this series Pretty Good Plays. It's pretty good. Alright. Let's hope that this is the last time I have to come through here. I'm gonna make sure that it is, though. We're gonna be full focus when we get to that stupid wall turret boss. I'm just glad I didn't run out of Leaf Shield. I won't really need it again after this, I don't think. Just cool your jets, guy. Don't jump yet. Yeah, so if you run out of Crash Bomb energy and you need to come farm some, then, I don't know. This is one place where you can do it. It's super annoying because most of it just falls down the hole like that. So, like, don't do it. I think you're better off farming Crash energy from the big stompers downstairs. But that's just a huge pain in the rear. So
Yeah, or just killing yourself.
But, yeah, right now I have like 12 extra lives, so
Yeah.
doing that would be probably more annoying than just farming up the amount of Crash Bomb energy I need. Did I get that? Get that for my Leaf Shield, why not? Never know. Maybe I'll want to shield some leaves.
It is almost autumn.
It is. The leaves are turning yellow in the backyard.
Ugh.
I know. Actually, I really like autumn for like the first month, basically. But then, yeah.
I love September and October, but...
Oh no, November's a drag.
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses turning lemons into lemonade on that one. Here we go, folks. The Boo Beam Trap is the official name for what
Don't screw this up.
any sane person would just call the wall boss. So, after my bad experience... Alright, I'm going to show you the cheat now. Do you know this cheat? It's kind of like the inverse of the pause trick from Mega Man 1. You just keep dematerializing yourself, and that way they can't hurt you when they shoot.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going to do that too many times because you don't really need to. It's also just kind of annoying, so like I'm just gonna take my lumps. I'll use an energy tank. I don't care. All right, so now what I do, now that I've had a couple bad experiences, I now start this fight by destroying the two walls that you absolutely have to destroy to beat these guys.
Right.
Because that way, if I do get killed, at least those walls stay destroyed. You know what? I'm not taking any chances on this.
Yeah, don't die.
I don't need energy tanks that badly anyway.
The least fun way to stream any video game is to have to farm for bits and pieces that you need to...
Yeah. And this level sucks and the music is bad, so like...
Yeah. This is definitely the worst level in this game.
Yeah. Worst level, worst boss, worst music. Thank God it's over. I think you can do this there. If you're like a real hot shot, you can do this with less than full Crash Bomb energy by kind of destroying a wall and a turret with the same explosion. But in doing so, you give up a guaranteed hit, and it's not worth it for me. Like, the chances that I screw that up are way too high. Alright. Made it to the boss refights. So Mega Man 2 is also the first game in the series where they just stick all the bosses into a single teleporter room. Well, I should say the first. It's the first game where they don't do the thing that Mega Man 1 is the only game that does. It's funny that Mega Man X also reuses the Mega Man 1 idea of sprinkling the bosses out throughout a bunch of different levels. I don't know if that was like an intentional homage or...
Yeah, I like the way that Mega Man 3 does it, where it recycles the Mega Man 2 bosses.
Yeah, the Doc Robot stages are great.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I love this game a lot. Mega Man 3 is... If it's not as good as Mega Man 2, it's like 1% less good.
Yeah, they're pretty much equally good as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, hey, let's get this guy some atomic fire. Oh, you know what? I don't have time to charge up a full shot. That's so satisfying. I'm gonna just use the metal blades for the rest, though. I'm still doing a real bad job of fighting Woodman. Don't do what I'm doing, kids. If you're watching at home. Remember when you played the Wily Wars and you did the Bubble Man fight and we're like, man, this is taking forever, it's way longer than in the regular game? That's actually true. If you use the Mega Buster, he only takes 1 damage per shot, I want to say. It's just that he's not that hard, so it's, you can kind of manage. I love using Flash Top Run Quick Man. It's so good. Like I said, this fight is considerably easier when you don't have all those little ledges on the ground to mess you up.
Yeah, you can. It's a lot easier to duck under his jump attack for sure.
Oh yeah, Crash Man, Crash Man. There you go. I like them apples. That leaves me with metal and flash, so we're just gonna be metal blades from here to the end. You don't want to use up too many metal blades during this section because they're really good for the Wily machine. The Wowie's machine.
I love how Metal Man's weakness is Metal Blade.
It's pretty good. I don't remember who made that piece of art. It's just like a cartoon drawing of all the Robot Masters from Mega Man 2. Each one like showing what they're weak to, and Metal Man is punching himself in the face. Really cute. Here we go. Dr. Wowie's machine. I'm gonna say I usually use an energy tank somewhere on this fight.
I mean, you have lots to spare, so...
Yeah, I do, and I won't need them after this, because I can generally deal with the alien Dr. Wily without too much problem. Sorry, did I spoil that? Oh boy.
Wait, he's an alien?
Nope, never mind. Didn't say anything. There you go. I love how the floor explodes here. Wow! You see, I'm down to 1 sliver of Metal Blade left after taking out the boss 3 fights and that machine. You can do the first part of the machine pretty easily with just the regular shooter. Oh god, this is so cool. Just the fact that you show up in this mysterious cave and there's no music at all.
Pretty creepy.
Can I give an honorary jam to the fact that there's no music? Let's do that.
To a brilliant use of silence.
And these acid drops, which are very creepy and also hit like a frickin' truck. I've heard it said that you can just basically barrel forward. Oh, there you go. You can just barrel forward through here and never get hit, but I don't want to get hit badly enough that I don't normally try it. I got hit anyway, so super. So I might wind up using an energy tank on this fight just because I'd like to try to finish this without dying again. It's dark and creepy, and here comes Dr. Wily, but he's not Dr. Wily, he's a weird alien guy. I have to admit, when I was a kid, this was a little bit mind-blowing.
That explains why he was so evil.
He did not understand our human morality.
Mm-hmm.
So, this pattern is very easy, but he does hit very hard. And you have to do this for a while because the bubble doesn't do a ton of damage to him, so I do tend to play it pretty conservatively. It wasn't until pretty recently that I actually started double tapping every time he'd fly by just to get that extra damage in, shorten the fight. Again, there's some things about this
He makes
game.
an infinity symbol to represent the infinite depths of his mind and powers.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, if I hadn't walked into that stupid dot of acid, I'd be finishing this fight without using an energy tank, but I'd rather use one than die, so... Bang, there we go. Mega Man 2 played pretty good. Oh, it wasn't actually an alien, it was a little drone.
What?
We're in like a disco. I super love how once the projector breaks, you can see the stripes on the back wall kind of refracted through the glass dome in the ceiling. Look at that. They did so much with like the crude graphics of the system. I like that little victory jingle, but I don't know if I'm going to give it a jam.
It's okay.
Also, one of the best endings out of pretty much any Nintendo game. You got your touchy-feely part now, where Mega Man is walking through the 4 seasons. I don't know where this village is supposed to be, because that looks like kind of... It's like European architecture, but I want to say the Japanese Alps in the background. Can't remember if... Like, the camera eventually pans out and you see the rest of the scene, and I can't remember if Fuji is in the background. Also, me as a little kid had no idea what these pink things were. Didn't get a lot of cherry trees where I grew up. As a kid, I always used to wonder if like this ending meant that Mega Man died after he finished the fight for some reason. So wistful, staring off into space and then like leaving his helmet on the grass, like. You know. Also, he looks kind of old. He's got like
He's retiring, man. He's had enough.
Little does he know. Now, the final jam. And this one gets a second vote even though it's on the title screen because this is the extended version. Got a really cool part that you don't hear at the intro. So, Mega Man 2, the robot bosses were still designed by the people who were actually making the game, I want to say. I think it doesn't take long before we get into the fan design ones. Like, maybe by Mega Man 4, I think they're fan-submitted entries, which might explain why they're so bad.
Yeah, I mean, you just kind of run out of concepts to make cool bosses around also. Although
Sure.
I feel like doing Dust in 4 is like the ultimate reach.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty bad. Masakatsu Ichikawa. Yeah, I love this part. Beep. Well, yes, that's pretty much it, huh? 2
You did
meters,
pretty
0
well.
to 3 centimeters, man. Yeah, I'd say 2 of those deaths were really boneheaded.
You got crabbed.
I got crabbed, and the part where I fell off the platforms in that Wily level for no good reason, just because I got all turned around, like, that was pretty dumb. Where's the other one? Like, I know that I died that one time on Quickman, which makes sense. What was the other time that I died? Oh, I got spiked. I got spiked.
Oh yeah, you landed on those spikes. You drifted a little too far to the right. And
That, like,
couldn't
never
go left
happens.
at the time.
I think on average I must lose at least this many lives. Like, I'm not saying I did a terrible job by my standards, but the places that I did die were kind of weird. The crabs honestly do get me, like, 1 time out of 4, maybe. Fishman! Represent. Thank you for playing. And Eric, thank you for being here and talking about this game with me.
I like Mega Man 2. It's a good game.
Sure is. We'll talk
One
about...
of the 3 Mega Man games that everybody should have to play.
And I can't really disagree with you. Well, that's going to be it for this time. So, hopefully you'll join me next time when we do Pretty Good Plays Mega Man 3. Oh, yeah.
Slide.